Hey everybody, now I'm going to talk about a wonderful device that can save you a ton of money on your home phone service. Here's his shadow. As you can see, he's very shiny. He's called the magicJack, and he can save you a ton of money on your home phone service. Originally it was $19.95 a year, but now it's $29.95 a year. To get the regular magicJack, it's $39.95 upfront cost, and the first year of service is free. Let's say if you want to use magicJack but not want to have your computer on all the time, you can get what's called the magicJack Plus, which can plug either into your computer or straight into your internet connection, which is wonderful. And by the way, the magicJack Plus device is $69.95 for the upfront cost, and the first year is free. And now you can transfer your existing phone number to magicJack and magicJack Plus for I think $20. So anyways, my buddy Tim bought his magicJack back in early 2008, and it's been very wonderful. And I learned about magicJack from him when he first got his, and I was like, wow, seriously, phone service for $19.95 a year. I mean, it was really cool. And then my neighbor Tom decided to switch from Vonage to magicJack because he was tired of overpaying for phone service. And he's also had a good experience with magicJack, and he uses that thing like a regular home phone. I mean, he'll get on there and place phone calls like crazy on it. He'll send faxes, that sort of stuff. And in this video, I'm going to cover many questions that people may ask about magicJack. And in the next video clip, you'll get to hear a demonstration of how magicJack sounds on a decent computer, and how magicJack sounds on a sorry quality computer, such as, let's say, a low-end netbook. Here's the mid-tower Lux. Let's go and do the test with this machine. Here is the telephone I'll be using to receive the call. It's a brand new unit and cordless telephone. It has DECT 6.0. Brand new phone. It also has speakerphone as well. And here is the phone I'll be using to make the call. My Verizon cell phone. Gets good reception around here, so it should work just fine.
Okay, now I'm using the mid-tower Lux to make this call, and as you might be able to hear, magicJack sounds like a typical telephone. I mean, it sounds, like power cable digital phone. It sounds like Vonage. It sounds like, AT&T. It sounds normal. I mean, you can't really tell if there's any static in there, but I mean, it sounds normal. I mean, there's no breaking out. There's no excessive static or anything in the line. So, I mean, you can't beat it for the price. Just be sure you own a good computer. Now I'm going to show you guys an example of how magicJack sounds on a lower end computer, such as a netbook, or let's say a 2004 machine with a Pentium 4 or a Celeron with Windows XP. Just for an example. Here we go.
Okay, here's the netbook I'm going to be doing the test with. It's my Acer Spiral 1 netbook with a 1.6 gig Atom processor. Not to mention it took a long time just to start the software. This thing is so weak. And of course I'm going to be running a virus scan on this machine too, to give it a little bit of a load.
Okay, now I'm using the netbook, and you might be able to hear, for the first part it sounds okay, but when the processor maxes out at 100%, you may hear a little bit of distortion talking on this side of the phone. So I'm going to just go ahead and say a series of words, and just see if you can hear any sort of breakup or static in the sound. Hello? Hello? Audio. 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 Hello? magicJack test. Audio. Hello? Hello? magicJack test. Did you hear anything?
Okay, you just got to hear how magicJack sounds on a DEC 610 telephone. And I'm going to explain why magicJack doesn't do so well on an older computer or a computer that doesn't have very good specs. The magicJack device itself, basically what this device is a special little adapter. It's an audio device and a flash drive all in one. It converts, more or less you plug your telephone line into here, and inside the magicJack device is a controller that converts computer-based audio over to what goes through a telephone line. And it can ring the telephone, interpret telephone numbers being dialed, that sort of stuff. And the software is stored on flash memory. Like I was saying, this is like a flash drive too. And it behaves like a CD drive to the computer. And basically what runs your magicJack is a piece of software that pops up on your screen. This is what it looks like right there. That is the magicJack software. And the magicJack software runs on your computer's CPU. And let's say your computer doesn't have very good CPU and you're doing other things on the computer. magicJack will not do too well. I mean, magicJack itself does not require a lot of hardware to run, but let's say you're running antivirus, you run an antivirus scanner, you're browsing the web or that sort of stuff. It's going to interfere with the quality of service. And you also need a good internet connection to run both magicJack and magicJack Plus. They both require a decent internet connection. And next thing I'm going to talk about is faxing with magicJack. One thing to keep in mind when it comes to faxing with magicJack, you have to change what's called your audio volume settings. And what's funny is the software has this volume/headset control. And to be honest with you, this right here does absolutely nothing. Not a thing. You can move these toggles all day long, but it won't make any changes. Here's the real way to solve the problem. Right click on the speaker in Windows Vista and Windows 7 and click on playback devices, which I've already done earlier, but anyways, you're going to click here on handset and click on properties, and then click on levels. Make sure this is set to 100. It's usually something much different. And make sure it's set to 100%. And click OK. Now click on the recording tab and go back down to handset and click properties. Click on levels. This needs to be set to 60. Do not set it any higher, because if it's set higher, it will cause a lot of distortion in your phone calls and you won't sound very good at all. And click OK to that. Now, I'm going to be demonstrating the how well magicJack faxes using the Windows Fax and Scan utility. And they're going to just let you know that even with these settings, sometimes for some reason it will not work right. Most of the time it works fine, but every once in a while an error will occur. So anyways, we're going to send a fax to the HP fax machine test service. I found out about this service not too long ago when I was setting up a friend's magicJack for faxing with his HP all-in-one printer with a fax function. So I've already got the number dialed in. We're going to be sending the cover page that comes in on the Windows Fax and Scan program. I'm going to let you see a preview of what it looks like. This right here is what it looks like. This right here. We're going to send the fax now. It's going to dial the number and you'll probably be able to hear it. This is actually my second attempt at after a few minutes, because for some reason when I was sending back the fax it did have some sort of an error. So it's sending the fax right now. Sending page 1 of 2. sending the second page. The first page didn't really have much of any data on it, but the second page does have a lot more data. And let me go ahead and just explain one more time. The performance of your computer in your internet connection is critical, especially when sending a fax, something as sensitive as this. Of course, that's what the magicJack software looks like when a call is being placed and you're actually on the phone with somebody. And after we get through with faxing, I'll go ahead and go over voicemail. The fax was sent successfully. And what's going to happen is that phone number is going to call me back to send me a return fax saying that the fax was successfully completed. Okay, now I'm receiving the call. Answer call. Says receiving a fax from HP Fax. And it was successful. This is what the fax looks like. So usually it works. Sometimes it will have errors, but just know that you don't have to have a landline telephone company just to send faxes and stuff. I mean, it works. Usually works just fine with magicJack. The only time you'll usually have issues is when you're receiving faxes. So now we're going to talk about voicemail. magicJack comes with a very wonderful free feature that's called voicemail. There are phone companies out there that like to charge you for this service, but magicJack gives it to you for free. And it comes with voicemail to email notifications too. In this step, I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and call my magicJack phone number and just let it ring so to go to voicemail. Okay, now I'm going to place the call and I'm just going to let it ring. And basically it's going to ring 5 times and then go to voicemail. I'll let you listen to it.
Hey, you've reached me. 704-464. Sorry, I'm not available right now, but if you just leave your name, number, and a brief message, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you.
Test message. This is a demonstration for magicJack video review. Okay, I went and left a message. And now I'm going to dial my voicemail using the phone. And basically what you do with magicJack is you dial your magicJack phone number, and it used to be, even when you dialed the phone number from the magicJack phone, you had to press 1 2 3 4 as your password. Well, actually press start and 1 2 3 4 as a password. All that mess like a cell phone, but they eventually eliminated that out of dialing in from your magicJack phone. But let's say if you call from a different phone, for instance, let's say a cell phone or another landline or something, then you would put the internet information in, which is pretty decent. It's kind of like how cell phone voicemail works. And with this Unit Index 6.0 telephone, what I did was I programmed the phone number into this phone, so that way when I press this voicemail button here, it dials the phone number and goes to voicemail. Okay, here is the message in my email inbox. And it says, hey, you've received this voicemail message from so-and-so, and it's this amount long, that kind of stuff, and you can download it. It's pretty neat. Like I say, many phone companies like to charge you for this kind of service. And the magicJack voicemail itself requires a little bit of setting up. For example, you heard that personal notification that I put on there. Basically, what you have to do is use your magicJack telephone, dial your phone number. Basically, you go into your voicemail, and it's like an automated. You get some automated message. You dial numbers, and you go. What you do is you go ahead and set it up, and it's basically like the voicemail that comes with Verizon Wireless, for instance. It's pretty much the same thing. You can go in and customize it. Just say your name. You can customize it. Have your own personal greeting, like I have, and to access the voicemail in the future, you can either click this button here and it lights up green when you have messages in your voicemail box, or you just dial a number from your telephone. Now I'm going to dial in from the magicJack phone, which it does take a few minutes for the voicemail to go into your mailbox.
You have one new message. Press 1 for new messages. Press 2 to change folders. Press 3 for advanced options. 0 first message.
Test message. This is a demonstration for magicJack video review. Okay, I went and left a message. And now I'm going to dial my voicemail.
So actually, it was still recording for some reason. I guess my cell phone didn't hang up when I closed the lid.
Basically, what you do with magicJack.
So I'll go ahead and press 7 to delete the message.
Message deleted. No more messages. Press 3 for advanced options. Press 5 to repeat the current message. Press 7 to undelete this message. Press 8 to forward the message to another user, or 9 to save this message. Press star for help, or pound to exit. Goodbye.
So anyways, like I say, that was a little demonstration of the magicJack voicemail, and it works very well. And there's a couple more things I'm going to talk about when it comes to magicJack right quick. Anyways, I probably mentioned earlier about how they have went up on their prices. And that's one thing I don't really like. The reason why I don't like this price change is because there's a competitor out there called NetTalk, and they have a device that's really similar to magicJack Plus. And originally magicJack was the first to allow you to port your phone number. Now NetTalk allows you to do the same thing. And originally the plan for magicJack Plus and magicJack was to leave the renewal rate for $19.95 a year, but they decided to up it to $29.95 a year. And what's really disappointing is that NetTalk has the same exact renewal rate, and NetTalk has better customer service that you can actually call. With magicJack, it's just chat support, and that's the one real thing I do not like about magicJack. If there's anything I don't like about it, it would be the customer support, because really what they do is you go online. And I've actually got a video of how many clicks you had to go through just to get to the chat support. And they transfer you, more or less they transfer you to somebody in India. And these people don't really know much about magicJack. You tell them any kind of problem with the device, they'll tell you to apply this update to their software. And the truth is, the magicJack device, while usually they don't fail, there are instances where something can go wrong. For instance, my magicJack has never had a working LED in it. Just for instance, I mean, the phone service itself works just fine. The telephones, everything work just fine. But let's just say, for instance, let's say something goes wrong with the hardware that controls your telephone and you start having problems. They tell you to update the software. That's not going to help. So anyways, you get the idea about why I don't like the customer service. And I really wish they had kept their phone service for $19.95 a year, but still, it's a good deal. I mean, that's a lot cheaper than you'll pay for for digital phone through Time Warner Cable, or let's say through Vonage or something like that. Now their international rates, they're about average. Let's say you're going to be calling all sorts of different countries every single day. Then yeah, I would say that Vonage will be a decent deal. You can get the Vonage World plan, but if you're just like me and only call people in the domestic United States, this right here is the real deal. There's one more thing I'm going to talk to you about in terms of magicJack. The extension cord. Do not use an extension cord any longer than this. I tried it for a while, and I had this really weird issue. For a while, I used to run magicJack up on my wall, above that little Geico advert thingy. And I had magicJack running on an extension cord going from the computer. And while most of the time the phone service worked fine, when I went to dial people's phone numbers, every once in a while, for some weird reason, it would mistakenly put in a 0 sometimes. Let's say I dial a number that's, let's say, 464. That's the middle prefix, and that's actually the prefix that's my magicJack phone number is with. In some cases, it would accidentally dial 460 and then put 4 in the next 4 numbers. You would accidentally dial a 0. And one time I was dialing a number that had a prefix of 424. It dialed 042. So more or less, the magicJack device really needs decent power to operate. And that's why they say you should plug it into the back of your computer. That's right where your motherboard is at. Plug it straight into one of the USB headers on your motherboard to get the best supply of power from the computer itself to run the phones. And when you do that, you don't have these kind of problems. So anyways, the only thing I can't tell you about this yet is the number porting. I told you about earlier how they now offer the feature, but I won't be able to give you input about that feature until, let's say, August, because my mom and dad will be switching their phone service over to this particular magicJack right here. This is the one I bought them last year. And then I'll be able to tell you how that service works. So anyways, it was a pretty good run through of the magicJack itself, and later this year I'll be getting a magicJack Plus, and then I'll be able to give you guys a review on that, which I can't wait to do. But I'm going to run out my current year of magicJack service, because you can't transfer it over. That's another thing to mention, is you can't transfer existing years on magicJack to magicJack Plus. So anyways, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask.